Hello and welcome to Small Town Big Business. We're a podcast about having business success in small towns in the Midwest. My name's Jennifer Olson and I am the Director of Business Development for the City of Marion. And I'm here with...
And I'm Russell Williams. I'm Director of EThOs. We are a small business incubator. We're co-working spaces. We do training and development here in downtown Marion, Illinois. In fact, you're joining us in the Citadel building. It's a 108-year-old historical building that we are restoring, and thank you for joining us. We want to thank our sponsors for supporting small town big business, and that includes thank you to Arcadia Wealth Group, Black Diamond Harley-Davidson and RV, the Swinford Media Group, Fowler Heating and Cooling, the Watermark Auto Group Foundation, and of course our producers at Union Street Arts.
If you're seeing this, you found us somewhere, or hearing this, I should say. So we are on all of your favorite podcast platforms, everything from Apple to Podbean to everything you can think of. But what's important is please hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And if you're not on YouTube watching our smiling faces, there's an invitation to see the video component in addition to the audio. So please hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We've got lots of great guests for you, including today's guest.
Yeah, we interview business owners and founders that are very successful in small towns like our own across the Midwest, and we've got a fantastic guest today. Hi, Perry.
Hi there.
It's Perry Titze.
Yes.
And you are owner of the Marion?
Yeah, I'm a co-owner of the Marion Antique Mall here in Marion, Illinois.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your story before you became owner.
So I'm originally from South Dakota, and I come here to work on a fiber optic project about in 2009 or so. And I just was in and out of the antique stores on some of my time off, and come to know the owner of the antique mall at the time, and became a booth or a vendor with her, and it just kind of kept growing from there.
Yeah, and you had said earlier you're not originally from this area.
Yeah, I'm from South Dakota.
From South Dakota. And when did you make that move?
In 2009 is when I come here to work, and when I first, or originally moved here though, was I think in 2014, I think is when I officially moved here.
And what type of work in fiber optics did you do?
It was all with bearing fiber optics, primarily construction. I was a consulting engineer for a company called Vantage Point at the time, working with Shawnee Communications, primarily out of Equality, Illinois.
Yeah. Well, I imagine the antiques trade is quite different than that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So how did you move from one to the other? What was the transition?
I tell you, back when I was in college, I was working with an auctioneer, and I would kind of pick up the stuff that wasn't either purchased at the time or they couldn't get a bid on. And that's what I put in my house at the time for $1 or so. And it just kept, it went from having something old to all of a sudden something that maybe had a value when I decided to move or change spaces. So that's kind of where it started from. But then it just kind of kept developing as I come here and was working at the Marion Antique Mall as a vendor.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. Well, that's quite the leap from going from a single vendor to being in charge of the place.
Yes.
So tell us about, I know you guys have done some expansions, you've done some updating to your business model, so kind of talk us through from the time that you took over to where we are today.
So it's been big changes in the last 18 months. So right at that change when we bought it out, the previous owner built onto the building, which was kind of part of our purchasing it. We knew she was going to build onto it. And so it took us from 8,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet approximately. And we knew we were going to make some changes. We were going to go with the no walls per se in there, the dividing walls, so it's going to look more open. We were going to split our areas with using our furniture would be the walls. So we could still make the rooms like a living room setting using a couch as a wall type thing. And then also like the dining room areas where the China hutch would be used as a wall instead or something like that. So we kind of made our wall, so it made it look different, give it a new look, made it look open and roomy and big and bright, but yet also still had those sections of areas so that if you was looking for a specific item, you could go to that area and find it. So
Well, it's super helpful for those who don't always have the vision. I'm not particularly great at scale, so having things laid out as they would in a dining room is super helpful. So I think you're on the right track.
And is the Antique Mall also in a historical building too, or is it rather new building?
Well, no, the original building I think dates back to I should be careful, but sometime in the early 1900s or late 1800s, and it was really, I think, back off the start was a feed store. It was a furniture store after that. Then become the last 30 years or so was the first part of being an antique store. I know that.
Okay. And you've built onto that?
Okay. Yeah, we added on that 2,000 square feet onto that. We took a part of it off that was starting to become dilapidated.
Okay.
And it was not used as an antique store. Anyhow, it was more of a storage room.
Okay.
But we took that part off and built the new part on.
Did you already say how many square feet you have altogether?
Yep, 10,000 square feet
That's a lot.
altogether. Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you have trouble filling those spaces?
Oh, no. Matter of fact, we have a waiting list of, 20, 30 people.
Really?
Yeah.
And how far away do your vendors come?
Oh, within an hour for the most part. Everybody's
Okay.
within an hour
of
time.
Describe some items that your vendors are providing.
Oh, wow. It's a great thing. It's so many different items. We try to promote antiques and vintage, of course, which is, antique is supposed to be 100 years old, vintage is supposed to be 50.
Okay.
We also have a lot of mid-century modern items, which is, again, you're kind of going back to that 70s or so, which is approaching that 50 years, if not. We have primitives, so cast iron type stuff. We have jewelry, coins, collectibles, tools. And some of the tools, you can go back into your 100-year-olds also. And then, of course, we just have even somewhat what I'd call modern day furniture that comes through, but it connects the people who can't go to a store and buy a brand new product, but yet these are just like new items. So.
Well, first of all, I'm glad to hear that I'm turning vintage, not antique. Makes me feel a little better. What does your customer look like? Because I do see some younger audience more interested into upcycle, recycle instead of buying, what they would call fast fashion or fast furniture. So tell us about your customer base.
Oh man, it is really all over. We have the college students that come in, especially I would maybe say more the new parent who doesn't have the money to go into buy a new product, but yet you can get something that's new to the home, still looks new, but maybe older item. And also, I think it's easier to now, especially you can furnish your home, and it doesn't have to be forever. It can be a turnaround item where you can furnish for 6 months, a year, and then maybe change it because you don't have so much invested into that. Mm-hmm. You also have the elderly ladies, especially, that come in and they want to decorate their home with new items or different items. Kind of the same thing though. They don't want something, or they want to accent something they already have, like a grandma's or a parent's item. Mm-hmm. But they want to use this collectible item that reminds them of their Christmas, for instance, with their grandma or something. They'll put that collectible item on there. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah,
I would think too, like the changes where everything doesn't have to be so matchy-matchy. There's a lot of mix and match happening, and then. Also, like, I love that you hit on memories, because when I have an opportunity to walk through an antique store, and even things as simple as a certain Pyrex pattern, I think, well, that reminds me of somebody in my family.
Yes. Like the Pyrex bowls that you mentioned, that they remind me of my mother and my grandparents, and having them in there, I can still visually see where they keep them, for instance. And so, yes, it's something that's a reminder, a memory.
Mm-hmm. Do you know where your customers are coming from, and do you know how they find you?
How they find us primarily social media. Yeah, it's really a huge thing to use to bring people in. But just the other day, we had people from Alabama that was there by Huntsville. We had people from Texas. We had some from Mississippi. So, and you think, well, what brought you here? Yeah. What brought you to Marion? And they say, hey, we just had Ladies' Day out or weekend out. We just decided to travel this way, looking for places we can go through. It's amazing what we can do in today's world and how we can reach and connect with people that are not from here. Now, of course, so just so you know, I need the small town. We need the local people, those are great.
Yeah.
Those that come off the interstate. And also the interstate, talking about that, the dual interstate helps us out too.
Yeah.
Connects from different points of the United States.
So since you brought that up, continue what advantages of being in a small town like Marion?
Yeah, so the dual interstate, I'd say, is number one. It's a great way. It brings people from different locations that are coming through, either going north or going south. And going north, going south, or east and west, depending on which one you're on. But they come through here, and it seems to be a stopping point. It's a good place to, halfway between the, Chicago and someplace south or something where they stop here, and then they come into our stores. It's a great thing, and we have a lot of great businesses in Marion too. A lot of opportunity. So hotels, restaurants. Opportunities that they can stop, just not only for us, but it's a lot of other things that draw them into this town.
Yeah, it is tough to drive from the Chicago area to either Memphis or Nashville without stopping.
Right.
And this is a awesome place to stop and shop or rest or whatever you need to do.
So I hope that we can capture some of those visitors as residents like you who came and saw and decided that this is where you wanted to be on a longer term. One of the things that I really applaud about the almost trail, if you will, of antique venues here in our city and even in the county at large is I think you all do an excellent job of referring to one another and encouraging multiple stops while they're in town. What are some other secret sauce or what are some other maybe non-social media ways that you get the word out?
Yeah. So right now we're part of a treasure trail. Okay. And so there's 10 antique stores that are on it, and we're trying to encourage to go to all of them. And then in and amongst, you go get stamped in the month of April, that is. You get stamped at all 10 of those locations. You're in for a drawing of a $100 gift certificate at each of our locations. Plus, we're having an 11th giveaway, which is a hotel and theater tickets and meal at Benny's, and so a lot of other things, not just antique stuff. And so that's been good. So we do really promote, if somebody's off the interstate looking for antique stores, we try to promote the other antique stores too, because it's not only my store. We do survive off everybody else. When they ask about food, we try to promote the downtown area for food places too. The Merc for ice cream, or the Pookie's for a great burger, or Benny's for awesome Italian food. Whatever the case may be, we really try to promote other things.
So that walkable traffic, especially during good weather seasons, is really important for your business. Yeah. And are there too many antique places? I mean, is there a tipping point there where it's another antique place?
No, at least from my side, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it just draws people in, and we encourage them to go see the other places also.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a downfall at all. I think that our size is really, really good, our 10,000 square feet. People can come in, browse for an hour, or they could spend 3 hours. It kind of depends on what they want to do. They can either do a quick browse and out and on to the next one, or they can do hey, look at all this, that reminds me of Grandma, and they can do all the discussions all the way through. So it's a good size and a good location, for the most part, bringing them into downtown, the square of Marion,
Right. I don't want to skip over. You said you're co-owner.
Yes.
So I'm imagining your partner is maybe running the shop.
Yes, she's there right now.
Today. And what is her name?
Cindy Sisk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So as much as I love all the good praise, what's the downside, or what are your challenges?
Challenges, I would say the biggest one right now is the maneuvering around the economic changes in our country, where we're going. Is it up and down? Are we gonna some point come to a leveling off, or are we gonna hit another hill or another valley? Trying to be prepared and be ready for those economic changes. In that, and with those economic changes, we also find that our consumers change. How much money do they have to spend on extra stuff? And so you kind of got to be ready or listen to our customers and know what their needs / desires / wants are, so that we can kind of maneuver our business around where the economics of our country or our state are heading. So that's kind of I guess, a downfall or something that we have to always be ready for.
Can you give an example of how you would move in times like that?
Well, so the name Antiques is in my name, Marion Antiques. It's harder and harder and harder to find antiques, things that are 100 years old that are still surviving. So that's something that I think in our future now that we're going to have to be ready to either be prepared. Maybe we're going to have to change our name even, or maybe society will change to where antique is 75 years old. I don't know, but we're going to have to be ready for that possibly.
Right.
So if people come to our store and they say, "Well, where's the antiques?" We have to be ready on showing them either what we do have, or maneuvering them more to a vintage item, or something like that would be a change that we got to possibly be prepared for.
That's a good point, because I was thinking earlier, antiques, I'm thinking disposable income, and when people feel like they don't have that disposable income, your business may suffer. But on the other hand, if you can teach people that this is less expensive than brand new things, then they're more likely to be in that. It's not disposable income anymore. It's an investment.
Right. I think because of that non-disposable income, you can't go out and spend so much more money on a brand new item. They don't have it. So if we can encourage or be ready to have this item that looks new, only is not new, it's old, but yet can still fit in what their desire, their wants, or their need is. That's how we got to be able to fill those.
Well, nothing wrong with our new manufacturers, but the fact is things that are 50 to 100 years old last a lot longer.
Right. Correct.
They're solid. So.
And, craftsmanship should be a value that we all have, but I think about some of our younger families that know that they have some moves ahead of them. And, that dresser that has perfect drawer corners is going to be a survivor versus something that you might get at a big box store. Nothing wrong with a big box store, but craftsmanship has its upside also when you invest in it.
Yes. Something else that as we were talking, I just was approached by a lady just this morning, matter of fact, saying that she's moving to Florida. And she has some items that she just can't take with her. She's going to downsize in area. She doesn't want to just put that item of her mother's or her grandmother's out on the curb to be picked up. She wants it to be possibly go into hands that somebody else who's going to want and desire and need that item. And so, that's kind of some neat things too, talking about how we can change or bring items in that can maybe catch the eye of somebody else and a need of somebody else's too.
Well, the restoration business is a big business. So on your end are your vendors people that are in that restoration business, or is it reverse? Is it people shopping, looking at something like, I can restore that?
We have both.
Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, my co-owner is very, very good about fixing, refurbishing, painting in some cases, bringing new life to things. That matter of fact, if something's heading for the garbage, she'll go save it because she doesn't want it to be ruined. She wants to see how she can fix it and bring it back to life.
That's wonderful.
And it's amazing what she can do. Is amazing.
How do you find employees that either have the knowledge or are willing to learn? I mean, it's a lot to know from vintage to antique and different eras.
Yes, so all of our help at the store are all vendors. So it's people who have a stake in our store. And so they do know kind of what's the difference. Or like each one of our employees / help, they all have separate and unique areas that they're in though. Like one's collectibles, one's I'd call mid-century, modern. Cindy and I are more, I'm antique, she's more refurb, things like that. So it's kind of neat how we all kind of blend, but bring new ideas and things to people.
So did you or Cindy, did you guys have the business background before you bought this business?
I owned my own business back in the late 90s.
What was that?
It was a airport shuttle service ultimately, and a tours business. So that was back in South Dakota. I would take people to and from the airport. I also did tours of Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse,
Wow.
Devil's Tower, things like that. And so, yes, I had a business for a few years back then. So I have a little bit of experience, but we now have a team that is made up of so many individual and unique areas within our store that we all build off of each other and support each other. And
awesome.
where somebody's weak, there's somebody else to step in.
Yeah.
And that's
Where'd you learn that from? Because that's not.
yeah, that's I'm not. It's my whole team. It's not just me.
Yeah.
It's everybody. You know, the vendors are great about bringing new things and new items, and they find that something that's going to catch somebody's eye.
That's good.
To bring into the store. So
That's
it
good.
takes all of us.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to mentor and coach,
Yeah.
both of your former businesses are also needs. You know, as we prepare to have a direct jet service from Chicago in summer of 2023, we have grave concerns about the lack of ride share, and we worry about people getting to Veterans Airport with the expectation they can catch a ride that might not exist. And certainly the travel tourism, you know, with us being a home base and people wanting to go out and do daytime activities in the Shawnee or on the wine trail. So I'm just planting the seed because you don't have enough to do, right?
Right.
So maybe if you could talk about, are there any tools or resources that you're using or you wish you had, any kind of, I always say hacks or apps or anything that would be helpful for other businesses?
When you say resources, the first thing that comes to mind is my customers, my vendors. Man, without them, I have nothing, period. The tools that come to mind, I would say, is social media for us. It's we have a great, one of my vendors is very, very good at marketing, and people come off the street and say, I seen this. Where can I find this in the store? Or I come in just for this item, and they'll bring many other items up to the counter. We in today's world, though I hate to admit it, we probably couldn't live without social media anymore. You know? Going back to what was your other question?
Like what's missing or, you know.
Tools. Man, I tell you, just so you know, too, is our support from other businesses, you know, around here, you know, the Vault, the Merc, the Pookies, you know, the warehouse, whatever. We all are sending people around to all of us. Yeah. Without that, we couldn't survive either.
Yeah.
So.
And is there a professional network for antiquers, for people that are in the antique business?
There is an antique association, too, that's out there, an Illinois Antique Association. I have to be honest with you, I just found it the other day, so I'm not even a member of it, but I want to look into it at least to see. But otherwise, again, it's just kind of our local ones that are really just kind of bouncing each other off of each other.
Are you part of any business community or network here locally?
I am not.
Okay.
Other than the other antique stores like us, but no.
And I wanted you to talk more about Cindy, because I want to make sure Cindy has you know, a highlight at the table too.
Yeah.
Tell us about her strengths and what she brings.
She's a past. She worked at the mines for many years. I don't exactly know how many years, but so that's her background, or you know, a lot that she has. She has unique strengths about. Maybe shouldn't word it this way, but she's OCD and filing, for instance. She wants to make sure everything's put away perfectly, and if I happen to take it out of line, she's going to put it back where it was. Unbelievable, though. Like, I can ask her, where's this paper? She can go right to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. She's very good about, with the other vendors, like preparing, or if somebody's coming to pick something up, she's got it ready to be picked up, or she's got items moved around. Staging between her and the other gals that work there with me are just wonderful about making things look like they're displayed perfectly and ready to go. Or she can also, she goes through the whole building every time she comes in. She has a great memory about it. If somebody comes in and say, I seen this on media, where can I find that? And she can say, oh, it's right over here. You know, she can find it. It's just really, really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Awesome.
And like I said, she does a lot of refurbishing of furniture. She's the only one in our store that truly refurbishes. And so that's a great thing. We need it. So, yeah.
Well, and you know, the visual organization matters to the customer, but the behind the scenes organization matters to your vendors, because when I show up and I have 12 items, the money from my sale might be going to 12 different people.
Right.
And if you don't have the back end, you know, that's...
Yes. We enter it all into computer. We have a program called Go Antiquing, and it's really nice. We enter it in there. It divides it all out. We just push buttons at the end of the month, and it tells us how much we owe each vendor, and they get a display or a printout of what they've sold. Really nice program too. So.
I love to hear about these specialty programs because I do think sometimes other industries can learn, from what other people are doing. So you're kind of learning from your own group and cross-threading some learning. So
You mentioned earlier that a big part of your marketing is social media. Are you doing that yourself, or because you do have a great social media presence? The business does.
There's one of my vendors primarily is our person. Cindy, also my co-owner, does. Those two do most of it. Unbelievable is all I can say. I'm not that good at it. I push the share or the likes, but no, they do it. They're the ones who do it, and they know it. And it's amazing. The people who will come in and say, "I saw this on social media." Yeah.
I see it all the time. It's a great presence. Yeah.
I don't want to cut it off too soon if Russ has more things, but I just want to make sure, are there things that you were thinking of when you were on your drive-in this morning that you want to make sure we cover?
I guess I really haven't thought about it, but all I know is, I want to build the perfect team, or that's what I think is the key to business. Build the perfect team with the most positive thoughts of how we can make this work. Now, granted, you got to look at the downsides too, but you don't want to focus on the downsides. I think you got to focus on what's the positives and where can we go with this. And I think if you build that right team that's always supportive and always pushing to go to that next step, I think that's the ones you need. That's also our customers. Our customers are also, hey, I'm looking for this, and if we don't have it, guess what? We're out trying to beat the bushes trying to find it.
That's good.
And we want that sale. It's what gets you up in the morning. It's that next sale.
Yeah.
What can I bring to the table that somebody's interested in?
Yeah. Does that speak to your purpose? Like, why do you do what you do?
Yeah, it's just, I love it. I just absolutely love it. You don't wake up dreading to go to work or anything. It is, I want to go there. I can't wait to find that next item or that next call from somebody who needs to get rid of an item that I say, I can take that and get it connected to this person or whatever, and trying to find those connections and keep building around it.
I think we've found that in successful businesses. It's about relationships.
Yeah.
It's about connecting with customers and providing good service, and that's a teachable, but it also, I think, comes from the heart of wanting the best for another person, which benefits your business, the best for your business and the people that you employ.
Right.
So I just love your manner and just your enthusiasm for the business too.
Thank you. We love people that come in, and we hear it so often. We hear about how this has changed, the business has changed, how much brighter it looks, how much different it looks. Or we purposely, like Cindy and I right now, the whole back area, we are changing completely, which is taken us about 2 weeks now, but it's going to have a new look. Matter of fact, one of my vendors just told me this morning, "Wow, you got a whole bunch of new furniture." Well, really, we didn't. We just moved it around. But that's how it is when people come into the store. They see all new. They see all fresh, even though it's not necessarily. The changing of the store is what really brings people in. Something to see different.
That's awesome. So if I come in today, but come in 6 months from now,
it'll be all different.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Matter of fact, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, a month for sure, it'd be different. Yeah, it's amazing.
Do you have a futuristic vision for the business? Is there something next?
Yeah, we're always, there's a business north of here that's closing down, another large antique store that we have many people approaching us. We're trying to figure out how we can implement them, so maybe we'll see another building on growth time. So,
Very good.
So I want to kind of close out, if we can, with a compliment for your team, and that is because I feel the positive energy when I come, and certainly helpful. And so when I think of the feeling, I think of hospitality. And my favorite phrase about hospitality is that it's not about how the host is left feeling, it's about how the guest is left feeling. And I feel like you are imparting positive energy and a great experience on your guests. So thank you for what you brought to our town.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys for your time today.
And Perry, how would someone find the Marion Antique Mall address and website and things like that?
Yep, 503 North Madison Street. We are on Google. You can search us on Google. You'll find us. We do not have a website at the time. We're in the process of possibly building that. Social media on Facebook, you can find us at Marion Antique Mall Incorporated. And that can also lead you there and find your way there. So.
Thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Today's guest has been Perry Titze from Marion Antique Mall. I want to thank him and also thank our viewers and listeners to joining the small town big business community. And thank you to our sponsors who include Arcadia Wealth Group, Black Diamond Harley Davidson and RV, Fowler Heating and Cooling, the Swinford Media Group, Watermark Auto Group Foundation, and Union Street Arts. If you'd have photography or podcast or recording needs, reach out to Luke O'Neill at Union Street Arts. If you want to know more about EThOs as a small business incubator, co-working spaces, or the training and development classes that we have for small businesses, you can contact me. I'm Russell Williams. You can contact me at russell@watermarkethos.org, or look at what we're doing on Facebook. It's EThOs at the Citadel on Tower Square Plaza.
And I invite you to make the drive in to visit Marion Antique Mall Incorporated. They have great accommodating weekend hours. They host open houses, and they are a participant in our Third Thursday where they stay open late, and we'll have a different special throughout those Third Thursdays each month. And with that, I just remind you to please subscribe on your favorite podcast app or YouTube so that you can follow us without missing an episode. Thanks for being with us.
I'm Russ Williams.
And I'm Jennifer Olson.